And welcome back to the hottest marriage show in our household. I am John D, aka Too Much, and I am with my better half, Do, and we are doing too much. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
That just well. Well, happy anniversary to you, my love.
Happy anniversary.
So just to let you guys know, when you guys do get this will be the first episode of our 15th season. Today is our anniversary. We are in our 15th year of marriage, but we have completed 14 years. And it's been a complete blessing to be next to this woman, to learn and kind of just grow with her. I love you, and thank you for having the patience and the ignorance that comes with it.
I love you too. I wish y'all could just see my face when he just be. I promise. I love you too. It's been nice for the most part.
Well,
with you.
I really feel like it's just getting better, and I know we still have, our hiccups mainly because of me, but I do see like a beautiful journey. Like, I wonder how we're going to how are we going to interact? Like, what does the disagreement look like? Like, I think that our communication is getting better and better. So then what does it look like when you don't disagree like you used to? Like how we disagree now, like, right. But it's gotten better because at one point,
y'all, I don't take 2 days to speak to him again.
She does not. She does not.
This is the growth from what, the fall?
Yes. Look, remember
there's that.
Yeah, and I was just saying, like, where we are, like, we're getting to the point where we are trying to, understand the other side as far as, okay, they're not doing this to make me feel like that. It's like we're becoming more aware of the triggers that allows us to avoid the crash. And I'm not saying we don't crash, but even just today, like, I could hear like it was a discernment. You were being firm with your stance.
I was, y'all, 7 a.m. sharp on the anniversary day we were fighting.
No, we were not fighting.
We weren't, because I was being firm. Look, so the firm and the boundaries things comes from a conversation or a situation from earlier this week, or last week. But we had to make the distinction between somebody yelling and trying to be mean and hurt somebody, and whether when they're talking to you, they're just being firm and setting a boundary, and you're interpreting it as, okay, now this person is really ready to fight me. So I had a little cousin, and he kept doing the same thing over and over again, and I was, I've always been really nice, easygoing, and so the third time he violated, I said, now look, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. He gets home. He tells his mom that I was mean to him and I was yelling at him, and that he didn't feel comfortable because I dropped him off. He said he didn't feel comfortable riding with me anymore. He would just walk home. And so his mother and I, we discussed what happened. So I told her what happened. And some people may say, oh, he was going and, being a messy kid, and it's like they were being mean to me. But after I got off the phone with his mother, I said, look, I want to come down there and talk to him specifically. And I wanted her in the room. So I go in there and I talk to him about, did you hear me raise my voice? Did you see me waving my hands? Was there anything that showed that I was visibly angry and upset? And he said, no, but you're always so nice. And so I said, so because I was being firm with you and I wasn't being all nice, I said, me being nice, did that get what I wanted to get from you? And he said, no. I said, so I had to change my energy in order for you to understand that I wanted something different from you. So fast forward that, it was funny because we were having this conversation at first when I was talking to her mother. John was like, I learned something today. What'd you learn?
I learned that the difference between being mean and firm. And then I started to like reflect. You know, I just associated not getting your way, and then somebody telling you you can't get it. That was being mean. It wasn't that it was just the right thing, or it was all It was almost like lumping so many different feelings under one thing. And then she kind of just created a different path of, okay, now I can see how my father was trying to be firm, but he was being mean as hell. Yeah. But the behavior, you made me kind of decipher, like, okay, so I can't use mean, and I have to be able to know, look, they're not trying to hurt my feelings. I'm not doing something right.
Mm-hmm. So, and they're trying to let you know. And it's crazy because even before this, we had a conversation. There was a quote I used to use with my math students. It says, I only have the knowledge for the things I have words for. Like, you know, and so we began to talk about shades of meaning. Like, I'm not always mad at you. I might be disappointed. I might be irritated or annoyed. I might be enraged. I might be angry. But shades of meaning, you can't just say, oh, you're mad at me.
Yeah.
It's different. You can't just say, oh, you're being mean. No, what I'm doing is, just because someone is stopping you from doing something you want or calling you on it, they're not necessarily being mean. They're just being firm and setting a boundary with you.
Correct.
And so today, John was talking to me about how we were talking about our path up until this point. And he was giving me his interpretation of how he had seen everything moving up to this point. And he made a comment that I didn't agree with. And so I was like, okay, so I'm with everything right here. This one statement, though, I don't agree with because of these reasons. And so it felt like he was telling me what he had seen, and this is what he understood. And so I'm not understanding him. I'm not hearing what he's trying to say. And I said, no, I do. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you mean and how you've interpreted it. I'm not going to take that away from you. But this one statement that talks about me and my contribution, I see it differently. So I would like for you to speak. Like, you say that part, but this part, that's based on your perspective versus mine. And I just don't agree with that. And y'all, he was getting hyped for a second. And I had to like give him the little lower hand because it's 7 a.m. in the morning and it's like, you know, echoing. And then he looked at me and he smiled and he started talking quieter. He was like, but this is what I'm trying to say. And I was like, I understand, but I don't agree. And it's like understanding that I'm not going to stop you from feeling how you feel, but I'm just saying that this part I don't agree with. And I was trying to set that boundary because, you know, it's that thing of, you know, who's responsible for what. And depending on the seat that you're in your relationship, we're going to see things differently because we're the ones living all this stuff out in our head. And so it was one of those moments where we were looking at the same stretch of time. And it was just like, I don't see that like that. I don't see it. I don't. And so instead of me being mean, I was definitely irritated because I felt like I wasn't being heard. I felt like you were irritated because you felt like you weren't being understood. But I was just like, I just don't think that, like, I would prefer you not make this statement because I just don't agree with that in the overall look of what we're talking about. In the end, he was like, okay. And then the conversation was over. And like, you went to go take Dallas to school. Now, it might have been different for us. I don't think it was because it's our anniversary that we recovered so quickly. But
oh no, I don't think so at all either.
But it was interesting because, you know, growth, right? And usually I will draw into myself for a number of days. And even in this moment, I was like, I was upset because I was like, this is the beginning of the morning and I'm already, you know, in conflict, and I was angry about it. The longer you were gone dropping the kids off, I was just like, you know, it was boiling up in me. And I was thinking about how I had tried to voice my opinion to you, and you kept saying no. Then it's just that if I don't agree, then it's that I just don't understand. If I understood what you were saying, then I would agree with you.
And I still feel that way.
Yeah, he really does. He's like, if you understand exactly what I'm saying, you're going to sign on to my perspective.
You would.
And it's not necessarily that.
I've just figured out why you don't understand it, because it's an analogy.
No, I understand analogies much better now. Y'all.
No, I know you do, but I'm saying as far as
he's talking, John, because
the disagreement, like, this is what I'm telling you. Like, I know you can have your perspective, and you can have it, but I'm saying if you have the information that I have, you be like, oh, I didn't see it that way.
Well, the thing is I can say, I can see what you're trying to say.
Then
it doesn't mean I don't agree.
I'm saying.
No, if I understand where you're coming from, in our conversations, a lot of times we reach back to how we grew up. Now, that's not going to be a crutch in how we behave.
In the past.
No, but what I'm saying is we often talk about how our behavior was impacted or it was influenced by how we grew up.
Correct.
And so oftentimes John will tell me, you know, I grew up in a household where this, and this happened, so you need to understand. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Today was the first time that I was like, but you have to think about, this is how my household like played out. So you're operating as a husband based off of what you learned, and then you grew from that. I was operating off of what I learned as a wife watching my family. And truthfully, it was like in the beginning of our marriage, John wanted to hang. He loved having a family, but John was John, you know, and in our family we were how I don't want to mislabel it, but you had competing priorities. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And so with me, the priority was the family. And in my head, actually, I grew up in a household where that's how it worked. My dad had a number of priorities that did not include us. And so if things were going down in the house, my mom prioritized managing us and her and whatever. And if my dad wanted to participate, so be it. But, you know, one monkey don't stop no show. We about to do whatever. And it really worked for John because he came in when, you know, oh yeah, well, I'll do that with you. But he got to service all of his priorities however he saw fit. And so we were talking about that, and he was saying, you know, basically, I don't want to speak for you, but just saying that as a man, you know, he was doing all the things he wanted to do. And he figured that was what he was supposed to do. That's what he saw other men doing, and women went on about their business. And one of the things that really got us was the moment where I was like, he said that I didn't speak up. Like if I wanted something from him, the only way he would know to give it to me is if I spoke up.
Yeah, I think that's the disconnect now, the speak up part. When I said speak up, what I meant was articulate in a fashion where I was supposed to receive it, not speak up that you are just allowing me to just act a damn fool. It was more so being able to, hey, you know, this is like where I just couldn't receive it.
And then that was the other thing we talked about is being receptive. And I was like, you know, if I asked you to do something, you have to think of, were you in a mood, in a space where you were willing to receive it? Like, Now if I say to him, John, this really bothers me that you do this. John is like open to receiving whatever you say. And he's like, he's reflective on it. And he's like, okay, I can make changes about that. When we were younger, if I would have said that, you'd be like, okay.
See,
but it doesn't necessarily mean that I was going to get what I'd asked for. But if he did give it to me, sometimes it would be with a tantrum attached. And so if I ask you for something to connect with you, and when I ask for it, you give me a tantrum, it's going to teach me that I don't want to ask you for stuff like that no more. Because if we've talked about this before, that I honestly, I'm an empath. I take on a lot of people's emotions. I can read people's emotions when I'm around them. I absorb a lot. I interact with people, and it's very tiring for me. And so when it comes down to the person I love and I want to spend time with him or do something, if he shows me that it bothers him to do that, it's too much work for me to fight you to do it anyway. There's some people, they'll be like, he gonna come anyway. You about to do it. I can't do that. It's too much, and it's gonna take away from my enjoyment of what I am trying to do. So his tantrums taught me what he didn't want to do, and then I followed suit. And I was like, cool. I'll just, I'll try something different. We're about to do this. Me and the kids are going to go do this instead. And so it really came down to, you were talking about how I needed to be able to say it in a way where you would receive it. But I would like to say that looking at maturity levels, sometimes people it's not softened ground to receive something yet. How we were talking about, you're always trying to feed people and give them information. Sometimes you're throwing seeds on ground that's not fertile. It's dry. It's dead, and it needs to be, somebody needs to go break up the dirt, and they need to water it and put nutrients in order for it to be able to take that seed and grow it. And so in the earlier part of our marriage, I feel like I could have been dropping all kind of seeds all over the place, but the soil wasn't receptive to what I was I was immature as a wife as well on how to exactly communicate everything that I wanted. So if I'm trying to say it in the best of my ability and the soil is not receptive to anything outside of what they are comfortable with doing, then how are we going to get anywhere? So it was a struggle in the beginning. And so instead of throwing my seeds out there, I just keep my little seeds in my little bag and go on about my business. And whenever you wanted to like hang out, then it's great. You know what I'm saying? So the conversation was like to reflect. I think in one of our earlier podcasts, we talked about every year doing a annual review of the marriage to see how we've operated this year. What were the goals? Did we meet them? Should we make new ones? Should we continue on with these? And I will say that's one of the things that I've definitely grown in, is how to interact with you. But I'm also thankful that we're at a point where you're receptive to what I'm saying, and I don't feel like I need to keep my seeds and go on about my business. Like I've talked too much already, but I just feel like, so my annual review of us this year, and I'm gonna ask yours too, is I think we've definitely improved on recovery time from an argument.
Oh, definitely.
I think we've definitely improved in the sense of stopping ourselves when we're about to get angry with each other and say, now, do they really want to hurt me or what? To kind of help slow down the acceleration of a fight. And I think also just unlayering some of the things that made us miss each other these years before. Like I think that us being apart for those 18 months, it really made it easy for us to fall out of the practice of really interacting and working out problems. And I was worried about this year because it was so much change so fast when you got back. But these are probably the best. This year has been the best for our marriage as far as communication has gone, and being able to recover from misunderstandings.
For sure.
And even when we still, at the end, we stand on different sides of saying, I still don't agree with that, it's okay, and it's no anger behind it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop talking, but I am going to ask you, what's your annual review of us? Maybe if you had something to say about what I was saying before, you could go ahead and say that first and then the annual review, but any mix of that, I'd be interested to know.
I guess the part where we were communicating on the, like you said, that we were disagreeing. That's what I think it's the disagreement comes because I can't express myself for you to be like, oh, see that I feel like every moment between a group of people, there's and I can't put it into words for you to be like, oh, you sound like, remember I told you when I used to have conversations with the Qs and it was like, John, I understand what you're saying. I just don't agree. I was like, no, your answer would be different.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it correctly then. Okay. I'm saying that the words that are coming out of my mouth are not just like that lady said. I can only give you the words that I know to try to express what I'm talking about. So when you say that, that's when I know that you're now in this category of people that I haven't been able to articulate, because there is a all moment where the other person, like, I did not look at it that way. And I haven't given it to you, because if I did, you would say, oh.
You mean at all? You haven't had one of those experiences with me where I'm
I have. I'm talking about in the conversation earlier.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be like, oh, that's what you were. I haven't gotten you to say that.
Well, I could say it the other way. I could say, I want you to get your all.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand. Like, if I'm looking at the order of a spectrum, I feel like, okay, whichever comes first, the next one is going to show you the order it came in. So I'm telling you that you haven't gotten the all yet. Like, you just trying to understand what I'm talking about. Until you be like, because I can tell you where you were looking at, because I get it. I totally get it. But I'm just saying, like, sometimes you're just too close to the elephant. But, and that was like, you can be really in it and sometimes you don't know that you're in it. That was that comment. But takeaways review for this year is definitely the best communication wise by far. I can just say from when I arrived in July to this point, like, even like, you know, I had grown so much just up into July, but now July to this point, I've see how you and I have grown together. Just throughout the life of this podcast, I can remember certain feelings I was having just because I wasn't able to control my emotions, or I took something the wrong way, or I didn't have those things where, like, okay, she's on my team. Like, now I have all of these things that's preparing me in case you say something that could trigger something. Like, you know, she's on your team. Like, let's try to figure out what she's trying to say before I didn't have those resources to think about. It was just, oh, I don't like the way I'm feeling, I got to make it stop. Pow.
And I remember I used to say that to you. Like, we get into really bad arguments and I would say, John, like, why are you fighting me? I'm on your side.
Because your words sound like they're fighting.
Or my words said something that you didn't want at the time.
See, that's what you can't put them in. I'm telling you now, that you said something that reminded me of a situation that this is what it said. That's when, remember, I told you with your brothers, y'all pick with each other. And I'm like, why do y'all do that? Because in where I come from, if you pick with anybody, somebody's going to make somebody cry or make somebody quit, go home.
Yeah,
but you guys
like
do it
play.
for fun. That's what I'm saying. So if I'm telling you I'm going to the extreme, I'm seeing something that looks like it could go to the extreme, and I'm just about to stop it now.
Well, you know, that used to make me feel like an outsider to you. Like you looked at me like everybody else in the world, even though I was the one that would like beat anybody off with a stick.
And no, because again, I think that's why I'm like, I've seen people do more and said that they love me. I got whoopings from my father all the time.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying that people, if I'm going to compare you to love, like I can see
scallywag you I'm just joking.
I'm talking about the essence of me learning love.
I understand.
So to me, I'm like, she's like them now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I can protect myself because I don't like. So, but now it's like, I really do believe you're on my team.
And you know, to me, thinking about that, it's kind of triggering to even think about that because my dad and his mental illness went even up until he was done, but until he passed. But even when I was in elementary school, I remember my dad used to swear that there were people in the family against him. And they would be the ones trying to protect him and love him. And he'd be like, them too. You know, they're a problem. This person's a problem. Not to say you're mentally ill, but to say that my dad would do that too. He would swear the people who loved him the most, he would be like, they're the ones.
Well,
That's the problem.
No, I didn't think you were against me. I just thought the selection of your words sounded a little more aggressive than they should.
Was I being firm?
That's what I'm saying. Back? I don't know. I haven't, because all of this is so new.
A boundary?
No, I don't know yet. But I would like to determine if that's what it was. And then I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It very well could be the boundary you were trying to set. And I was like, that's too close. Like, we got to move that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So maybe so. Mm. And I just didn't understand that.
Yeah. It's, yeah, we're in our 40s and we still talking about when we were little kids and how it still haunts us and it dictates our behavior to this day. You have to be so aware of what you're doing, and that's just practices from what you've seen versus really taking in the situation, the person, yourself, and carving out new behaviors.
For sure. That's why I said, like, there's no way I could have gotten here without you. That's why I was really adamant about it, because I can tell you where I was in my mind looking back. I was wandering. You know what I'm saying? Like, before my father died, I felt like I knew the most I could ever know. Like, I got this point because, you know, I got to this point. And it was like I did better than my father, and then that was the peak of my information. And you know, if you did not make time for me, another one bites the dust. You know, I would have just, like, how did this happen? I would have been looking up like, I cannot believe I missed all the signs. But you held the biggest sign that said, this way, sir. This way. I'm so blessed because after 14 years, like, and I can say this, I can tell you, I've never reflected as much as I have in the last 3 years. So even watching us mature in our marriage, I feel like we've grown so much in this last year in comparison to all the years.
Yeah.
Like, because I can say, dang, do you remember we were just doing that? But the other ones, it kind of like blended together. It was just about what did we do? We've done more things. The kids are getting older. But now it's like really growth between us as a relationship.
I think that just shows the importance of both people being open to growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that. I think I've stagnated you. Like that's probably your intentions. I don't know if that was your intentions, like purposefully. Then I think you thought it was just a part of the process. As you get older, you grow, but now it's like now we can actually work on it. I guess that's the reason why I've been running towards you. I've been like running, trying to catch up, because I can see how polished you were when I got you, and it was like you stayed with me long enough, and he was like, "Oh man, he's an ugly little rock. he need more work. He had a mirror on one side of somebody else's rock, but even his own rock."
He rolled his rock in glitter. And then I was like, washing. What's this shit?
What is this? Oh, it won't come off. It's hard to come off. Maybe I'm supposed to be with him. It's like, it's a trick.
That was horrible. Yeah, it was a scam.
Well, it was a good scam because, like I told you, it's gonna all make sense at some point, because, like, it's almost I can like just review and see like, all of my friends and where they are. The single one's married, one's in relationships, one's just trying to figure it out, and it's like, I hope that they don't beat themselves up about being on the wrong side of history, because some of them going to live a long time. And the last thing you want to, like, you don't want to be late to the party. That's what I feel like. That's a great thing. Like, I've been late to your party all these years.
Yeah.
He was like, he's going to come. I promise. Just hold on. He's a little slow.
Cake is all melted and lopsided.
Yeah. He was like, but look.
Pop is flat.
And now, like, I feel like I'm just getting to the point where I can walk through the door and be like, yep, she chose me. I'm so blessed.
And I'd be like, I chose him.
You don't have to feel like that anymore. Jerk. But what else did I take away? I think we became better parents.
Oh, yeah.
I think that
right on time for the teenage years. Oh my God.
And like I think that overall the way that we talk on how we can be better has helped them I guess transition into these young years to whatever it looks like. But I think that that's made the relationship like more, it made us more accountable for what's going on in the house. Like, because we were actively trying to figure out how can we make their life better than ours.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another thing about reflecting on our childhood. We'd be like, okay, how do we minimize the trauma on our kids? Looking back at how it is, continues to have residual effects as we're older. It's like, how do we protect them and let their path be like as much just about them and not about how we might have impacted them in a negative way. Yeah. So we've definitely been a united front on that part this year. Ooh, it's rough.
And I've really liked how you've I guess you've treated me throughout this process. I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit different. And when I say it was different because your temperament would change, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I really am trying. I'm like, but then sometimes I'm just, I would stray off. But I think your patience have gotten a lot better too, like with me. Like, and I'm like, I remember I was really complaining about 2 days. The idea to think that I didn't even know about the 2 days, and the 2 days always existed, and then it became the longest thing. It was like, just shows you like the relationship growth. Like, you've always done that?
Always done that. I need to take breaks from people's energy sometimes, and I'd be like, I'd rather just be off to myself. Yeah, I needed that. I needed that time to myself. Now I recover much better, but...
Yeah, I think what's happening is I'm more thoughtful maybe with my word choice, where you don't feel like you have to go kick me in the head with some rocks.
I be wanting to though.
I know you do. I know. And sometimes, but I'll tell you this, even now I know sometimes when I'm saying things, I'm like, oh, I need to backpedal. Like, that didn't come out the right way. I'm like, hopefully she just walks, But yeah, so I think overall I'm excited about what this year looks for, like what it's going to look like, because I don't see us stopping. You know what I'm saying? So the idea of us being able, because we know what it can look like now. Like we did all of that, and now we're a lot more organized, where we're like, these are going to still get fined, and more finer, and then we'll be able to work on other things. And I just think overall it's going to be pretty dope to watch.
So if we were doing an annual review, there would be a final determination. Not so much a grade, but kind of like it. So how would you grade this year? I graded on, if I were to grade something, like, how the NBA, they look at people, the potential, what's their ceiling look like? Right.
I feel like our ceiling has been broken. Like, so the grade of the potential is the highest to me. I feel like, because I know what I want, and I feel like the more I work on my communication, that's less likely you're going to be annoyed or irritated. So we would work together and grow. So I feel like we don't know what it could look like. So I don't know what we could grade, but I am on the very highest grade possible, whatever it could be, because I feel like we're understanding each other a lot more.
Okay, so what I learned in one of my grad school classes, we used to talk about surveys and how, when you're taking a survey, you don't always hit strongly agree or strongly disagree, because you need to understand that over the course of the survey, you may feel more strongly about something than another, and you need to be able to, So with that being said, I would give us a strong B-. Now, this is why. I know that we have had a lot of gains, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why we're in the B range. However, I also know that there are a lot of things that we need to continue to improve upon in order to be where this potential is that you see us. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to gas us by saying we're an A. But
I think A would be where we can look back over the year and was like, we remember we used to argue like people.
I know. So next year, maybe we'll be a B+, maybe we'll be a
So what
A-.
were we last year then?
Last year we were.
In your mind, for real.
Last year?
Yeah, like when I arrived. So, or like I guess right before I arrived.
I feel like we were at a strong.
Incomplete.
Yeah. A strong I plus, complete plus. Yeah. So there have definitely been gains this year.
Okay, so if we're gonna do it, so now I can, I guess, add my analysis. So I'm on board. I really believe we're doing better than average people. So I can take the B- because that's above average. But we don't know where we are. I just know that we never worked this way toward it before.
Right.
And people used to talk about us like, oh, you guys have this relationship. Like, they used to talk highly of us then, but like now they don't even know. It
was the optics, y'all.
That's what I'm saying. But so I can say that I am really excited about what this could look like. But this is one of the reasons, though. I feel like it's a great example for the kids, and I've been a lot happier. Like not allowing my energy to be bothered by so many outside things. I may not have taken on people's emotions or anything like that, but I used to be concerned about different people's situations. But now it's like I can just lock in on my family, and it's been a peaceful peace. It's been more peaceful to like not have to worry about other people's day to day when I can just make sure that mine's mine are in the best place that they can be.
All right, I'm with that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely. I think we probably should do a 1.5 year review, because the reason why I said that, because this was a great year as far as the growth in our relationship.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. And look, I mean, we did a lot of things together too, and a lot of things happened. So we had things happen within our family, deaths or announcements or, different things. So we had your typical journey of a year that families go through, but we got better in it, so that was dope. You want to give any shout outs before we get out of here?
No.
Well, I want to give a shout out to the Warrens. Happy anniversary. Y'all anniversaries today too.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure y'all gonna enjoy yourselves. But also I want to give a shout out to everybody who's working on a relationship to do more or to get better out of it, because you can really get more out of a relationship if you put work into it. And I originally hit the ceiling for my family. I brought my wife's ceiling down. She was like, I didn't know it was so small in here. But now,
Alice in Wonderland looking around.
Yes.
Why is this so small in here?
And now I feel like we're busting through the ceiling. And
now we're 112. Sky is the limit.
For sure. And I'm excited about doing this with you. Happy anniversary, young lady.
Happy anniversary, dude.
Make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. Be great on purpose. Boom.